Burnout is a massive problem in startup, especially when investors come into your cap table. The pressure is different, right? You are obliged, you have a moral obligation and a contract obligation to give this money back to the people who get to you.
I think to choose the right partners, it's the important part of it. I would prefer to have less valuation, but a better partner than otherwise. Because it's like a marriage. You are marrying these people, kind of, like contractually. We have a contract with them. And you have to deal until the end of the company.
We really want to have people accompanying us that you can go to and share what's happening when things are going incredibly wrong. I don't want my investors to be a set of people that I feel afraid of when things are not going as well as supposed to. And almost that I want to hide from them. I want to be able to go there and say, man, this is horrible.
André, thank you so much for coming to the LifeOfAFounder.
Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure's mine. Pleasure's mine. So we talk about you, founders. In EquityMatch, we are 100% focused on founders. We try to give all the tools to the founders to spot who they are. Of course, they start up. But not only the startup, because the startup is one thing, but what is behind the startup, which means the founder, especially in very early stage, pre-seed, where startup is 2-3 people, which means the founders. So it's all about them. It's only about them. So today we talk about you. And let me start with, where do you come from in terms why you are doing something similar? Because being a founder is very challenging. And why have you decided to challenge your life? Because it's got to be challenging. And you know already, because, and after we talk about failure, you already had a failure, which is beautiful in startups, I believe. When you're young, you can end up failing without too much pressure and be hurted too much. But let's start with where you come from, what a bit of your background and why you decided to do this.
It's always easier to do this kind of analysis because in the beginning of my childhood, I didn't know I wanted to be a founder. But looking back, I always had some pleasure of having businesses, having small business in school. Even in school, I had a small businesses of selling toys when I was 11 years old or something. I always tried to sell toys to my colleagues, to my professors, teachers, whatever, because I like to have my own money. I like the challenge of trying to convince someone that something that I have is valuable. I think started there. But for many years, I thought I would like to be a scientist, someone that creates stuff. But then afterwards, I realized, okay, but for you to create stuff in the real world, it needs to be profitable. It's desirable, profitable, and feasible. But and the only way to be profitable, you need to think like an entrepreneur. You need to make a business, and you need to create that way and materialize those stuff in the real world in that way. So invention and innovation are different stuff, and I think I realized that much later in life. Later, I'm young, but later. Because otherwise I think I would try to be an entrepreneur even sooner, probably. But in this illusion that I wanted to be like a scientist, I decided to go study physics. I met Totas there, and we started chatting with each other. I found the course super theoretical, and I wanted to do stuff in the real world. So I decided, okay, I need something more practical. I need something, but I was still unsure about, what to do. So I saw this new course on the university called Data Science and Engineering. And okay, I like to program. I like data. This looks applicable to a lot of stuff. Why not? And I applied, but with the idea in mind that I want this to be useful for my entrepreneurship journey. So even during college, I spoke to teachers and its professors, and I said, yeah, can I, instead of doing the homework that you proposed, can I do my own project and apply this thing that you are teaching me? And yeah, the professors were always super open about that. So I started experimenting a lot of stuff, participating in a lot of hackathons, and yeah, and in the end, it was like, yeah, I could be evaluated by that, and I was doing something for my life at the same time and trying stuff and thinking about my future startup. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't start out selling toys or anything like that. Actually, I almost had curiously enough, almost kind of an aversion to those kinds of things, because my father was a businessman, and I didn't look at it with the best eyes. Yeah, but so I went to university to study physics with the motivation. This is what has moved me for a long time, to understand more about life in general. I was curious about why things are the way they are. And so, yeah, it was mainly a willingness to know. But when, by the end of the course, I realized that physics doesn't give you all of the answers. Not only because the physics itself, the theories we've got are incomplete, but also because there are other aspects of life that we ought to know about. And I realized that one way to get a better understanding of life in a way that satisfies me still is by getting to know myself better. And entrepreneurship, trying to do your own businesses, trying to create something in life, is a really good way to get to know yourself much better, because you're constantly facing your fears, you're constantly being challenged in a bunch of different ways, emotionally, mentally, in terms of the skills you need to acquire. And yeah, it's a well-rounded way of really going deeper and deeper into knowing yourself better, and thus knowing life better. Yeah, and when we were in college, as André said, we got to know each other and we had lots of conversations, and yeah, we converged in many things, and it just made sense for us at one point to start trying to start out a business. Yeah, and I really enjoyed business and data science. I was more at the time into after physics into biology and ecology, so we merged there. And now I don't see myself doing anything else other than trying to in this right now, this business, in the future maybe others. Yeah,
be an entrepreneur. Now, this is not your first one. This is your second startup, right? So you already got experience. And I'm very curious, because not always all the time I can talk to the second-time founders. Many times I talk to in my podcast to first-time founder. The difference is massive, in my opinion. So how do you feel the way how you're approaching this new startup compared to the previous one?
Yeah. So in the previous one, we didn't get this far. So I think it could be even better if you fell like further in the more advanced stage. But yeah, when you get out of college, you basically know nothing like about the real life and what is to be an entrepreneur. And if you don't have like good references around you as good examples, it's difficult to foresee what would look like to be an entrepreneur. But I think still the difference is massive. Like if you didn't have this previous experience and we didn't felt like how difficult this is, probably we would be almost dead, because we are always trying to foresee the worst case scenario, like always. It's not being pessimistic, it's being prepared for the worst every time and assume everything it will be in the wrong direction, so you need to prepare yourself. But in a positive way, you know. You need to be positive about that and be happy about that and about solving problems. And you should learn to to like the journey and fall in love with the journey. I think that's the key. And emotionally was
But
key.
that's
Yeah,
beautiful. That's beautiful. I do believe you must fall in love with the journey, not with the end goal. Because if you just live with the end goal, maybe the end goal will never arrive. You really wasted time.
exactly, exactly.
Indeed, indeed. Todas, what's experience here?
Yeah, one thing that I feel has changed is much more hands-on now in terms of trying things out, getting feedback as quickly as possible versus too much planning. Too much planning in the first attempt. And yeah, right now it's there's not that much compared. So that was a big difference. There's a sentence that is very famous in the ecosystem in general, which is first time founders think about product, second time founders think about go to
Distribution, yeah,
market or
exactly.
something equivalent. Distribution, yeah, exactly. And yeah, there's also a difference that we're seeing a lot. So yeah, thinking much more about validating things and how we go about now distributing this, how do we validate the channels, different tactics. If the channels are saturated, is there a different channel we can test? Are there ways we can subvert existing channels? So it's a lot more about distribution now.
Yeah,
It's a
and
big
everything could be
difference.
like an engineering problem. I like to say in my team that we don't have like everyone is an engineer, everyone is solving problems. Okay, and you should address the go-to-market as an engineer problem too. And you can use tools like you can program solutions to help with your go-to-market. You can do like a bot that tweets something in the X and comments something, and that's it's the first part of the funnel, whatever. And so I like to put my engineers, like software engineers, thinking about marketing too. I think and nowadays you need to do a lot of stuff because you have AI. So the common knowledge, it's like one button distance from you. So yeah, you can have like the baseline of knowledge with a prompt. So yeah, you can have less people, more capable, doing a lot more, basically. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I can't agree more. Today, you can go faster. You can do with one what maybe 5 years ago, even 2 years ago, was needed 10. Still, go to market is indeed the most difficult part of the game. Absolutely. Easy to be focused on the product, especially if you're an engineer. Very complicated to finding the first market fit. Extraordinary complicated to scale. And that's why 99% fail, because it's very, very, very complicated. It's not just about money, it's about much more. You don't need, if you have endless money, there's no way you will succeed only because you have money, right? But let me touch the life. I mean, we have a cult, right? I've been spending in venture capital. My background is private equity M&A, so I come from that part of the equation, which means very mature company with millions and millions in profit and no problem in runaway cash flow, where you don't know if you can last 46 months that come. And after move to venture capital. Venture capital, what has been built around venture capital. It's a kind of cult, right? So it's trendy, even fashionable to be an entrepreneur outside. Inside, it's a nightmare. I've been an entrepreneur. I've been without money for a very huge amount of my life because I was trying like hell, doing stuff, didn't work, and moved to another one, didn't work. So I ended up doing 6 companies, which in the end of the day, we sold 3 of them. But at the very beginning of any of these venture, it's a nightmare. it's unless you are rich. But if you are rich, you are not actually a founder at all. So how do you experience? What's the quality of your life? Be a founder. I mean, I'm not asking you if you are if you destroyed already your bank account. Absolutely not. What I'm saying is, do you feel yourself comfortable in this stressful, very stressful life, especially when you move to tech, where what is actual today, tomorrow is old.
Yeah,
It's
true.
finished.
I think you get better in normalizing stuff. So I think in the beginning it's a lot of ups and downs. But if you are like you need to reflect about that. You need to think about your mental health, because that could be an issue. Of course, we work a lot of hours, and basically our criteria to stop is that, okay, today it's impossible. I'm super burned out, so I'll just sleep all day, and then tomorrow I will start over. And it's kind of like that. But I think you get used to the stress. And it's similar to other fields. Like if you want to be top 1% in anything, like if you are an athlete or something like that, you get used to the stress, and it stops being so stressful. So I think it gets better because your emotional resilience gets better. Okay, but it's not easy at all. There are times that you go to the hell, and then you are in the heavens. But one thing that I like to do, and even with my team, to motivate them, is to appreciate the good moments, but to really appreciate them and be grateful for them, because it helps like regulate my dopamine levels in my brain. Like, okay, now I can have some pleasure of something that I achieved, and we should celebrate that. But it's not celebrate like let's get drunk, and of course not. It's like, okay, let's feel like grateful about this, like in a mindfulness way, because that little thing will supercharge you to go through the hell in some months again, or some weeks, or whatever. And I think it's a small trick that's helped me a lot in my personal case.
That's true. Absolutely true. You need little. You indeed need little.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, you've always accentuated that idea, and I'm totally in for it. It's really important, and it does work. For me, I personally, I really like to find small, could say, hacks that I can do to make myself feel better in general and become more resilient. I really like to use the body as a leverage point for my mental and emotional state. So, doing breathing exercises, standing up once in a while when I'm in the computer, standing up, walking around a bit, shaking the body. Just very little things that really help me tune in to myself, become aware of what I'm feeling. If I'm feeling stressed, I can become aware of the stress. And by looking into it for a bit, it goes down. Maybe it might disappear. Maybe it just diminishes. But either way, it helps. So I try to, throughout the day, to do as much of that as possible. And once in a while, whenever possible, I try to sit down a bit and reflect on what I've been feeling throughout the day or throughout the week, and trying to see what is really at the bottom of certain feelings. And these processes of becoming aware, I find, are crucial for developing the aforementioned emotional resilience, and for the ability to be grateful in those little moments as well, those little victories. So yeah, that's a way. But yeah, of course, it's still hard.
Yeah, and if
there's moments of suffering, moments of happiness.
If your main goal is to get better as founder and to learn more, I think it gets easier, because you have, you know that you need to pass through all this pain to get there, to get to the person you want to become. I think that's the thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're not uncomfortable, you won't change. You need uncomfort.
Get out from the comfort zone. That's the rule of any entrepreneur. If you stay in the comfort zone, don't become an entrepreneur at all. But burnout is a massive problem in startup, especially when investors come into your cap table. The pressure is different, right? If you bootstrap and you don't have any investors, is one thing. But when you work into fundraising, raising money, you are obliged. You have an obligation to give this money to. You have a moral obligation and a contract obligation to give this money back to the people who get to you. This can really pressure yourself a lot. It's a different story when you are bootstrap and you don't need to tell anything to anybody, and you only report yourself, and when you have people inside your cap table. Now, how far you want to go to stress your life having you're fundraising already. So fundraising means having investors in your cap table, venture capitalists in cap table. People will tell you guys in 3, 4, 5 years time, I must exit. So that pressure is very high. Are you ready for this kind of pressure? That it's a different story. Is living the life in a different perspective.
Yeah, that's true. I think to choose the right partners, it's the important part of it. Okay. I would prefer to have less valuation, but a better partner than otherwise. Because it's like a marriage. You are marrying these people, kind of, like contractually. You have a contract with them. And you have to deal until the end of the company. So I see as long-term games with long-term people, okay? And they need to be super aligned with our vision, and they need to trust you too, okay? And we need to trust the investors too, of course, and to listen from them. So we always try to have people that put something more than money. It doesn't have to be a specialist in the legal field, of course, but it helps a lot to at least have the person matching your energy, understanding you and trusting you, and in your vision and mission. So I think that's an important part. Other important part is emotional resilience that you need to build and to anticipate things, You need to anticipate. You need to think like some months in advance, 1 year in advance, and try to foresee the future and not be flooded in the day-to-day operation solely. Okay, because then they will knock your door and asking for stuff and you didn't prepare. I think you need to plan, but like strategically. You need to have a strategy always. It could be always changing. It could be just like a small document that you are always changing and discussing with your team. But you need to have strategy and you need to anticipate stuff. That will reduce a lot of your stress because you are prepared. And sometimes it's just taking some time to think about this, and it's not so difficult. You just need to remember, do it, just do it, anticipate. It's important. Okay, and we do a thing in the team, like it's called like scenario planning. Like we do a quick brainstorm, like seeing all these possible futures about competition, about market conditions, about, I don't know, some wild cards like war or whatever, and how would we react? And if you are prepared somehow, not like you'll never be 100% prepared, but just a bit, you already thought about that, it would be much easier, in my opinion. Yeah.
Regarding investors as a partner, like in a marriage, we really want to have people accompanying us that you can go to and share what's happening when things are going incredibly wrong. I don't want my investors to be a set of people that I feel afraid of when things are not going as well as supposed to. And almost that I want to hide from them. I want to be able to go there and say, man, this is horrible. I'm sorry, but this is how it is. What can we do together? Do you have any ideas? And the other point regarding anticipation, one thing that we also like to do is whenever we make an estimate on some metric, for instance, we have a certain X runway in month or X credits in some cloud provider or something. Okay, let's take out 1 month or €1,000, just so that if we go to the edge, we already know, oh, okay, we have the margin of error still, so
Yeah.
it's okay. Those are two things that I feel are important as well.
I mean, founders, they really need, between all the many, capacity requirements that you need to be a founder, there are two that for me are crucial, which means the motivation that brings you there. I mean, actually three. And after you need a method to keep everything going, you need a huge, massive resilience. Huge. How do you cultivate this? I mean, this for yourself, having not under control, but for example, how do you keep yourself motivated? And you can't train resilience, but resilience train you. But you need a very massive, massive way of motivation any single day. For me, motivation it's very important. We are talking about, but at the same time, there are days where you are not motivated at all, but you still need to keep going, right? So you need to have this kind of daily routine that even though you say, "Oh my God, today I need to go," even if I love this, I don't have any energy. You still need to keep going. You can't stop at all. How do you cultivate?
Yeah, I think it's if you are just doing for the money, yeah, it's difficult to have that motivation. And then you have like the cultural part, like the people that you choose to your team. Okay, we already have 7 people in the company, and one of the criteria is okay. Step 1, this guy is capable of being a founder too. If you want it, he could be a founder. Okay, and the culture that he has like aligns totally with mine, and he will keep me accountable for my mistakes and for my motivation. So every time that I show up, that person will endorse me, will thank me, and will help me keep me pushing through the pain. And I think it helps a lot. If you are doing with friends and you become friends with your team and you like to work with them, it's easier. It's a lot easier because you're down, but then the rest of the team is super hyped about something. Because you don't need to share the pain. If I have a problem that it's my responsibility to solve, and my engineer will not help me in any way, so I will let him like keep focused on the problem that he's solving, and I will share with someone that will help me, get through this. Okay. And because if this engineer is good and feeling like super enthusiastic, it's good for me too, because that energy spreads, like good energy spreads. If you go to the office and everyone is super excited about what they're building, simply you shift your mindset and you are happy now, and you keep going. I think it helps a lot to have a good team. Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
Totas, do you want to?
Yeah, I totally agree. We felt that several times. If one is down, the other are up, then it balances out, and it brings everyone up in the end on average. I don't have much to add to that. Just to say, maybe, I think this might be a little bit controversial for some people, but if you're feeling down, and I don't know, if you just focus and do stuff, it doesn't give you much time to feel down also.
That's true.
So
That's true.
when you're so very tired, almost burned out, then you need to take a rest. If you have the space to, but you'll find some space to rest and then you rest. Otherwise, you just focus and do it, and you don't feel down because you're focused doing something.
I normally say something. Yeah. I just want to add after this. You are going to suffer anyway, like anyway in life. So it's better to suffer doing some cool stuff, That's the thing.
Something you like. That's completely true. I mean, if you do something you like, as we like to say, we don't work because we are doing something that we enjoy. Normally, when you wake up in the morning, you can't wait to go to work. But you still have days that are extraordinarily tired. And especially when you start your startup, metrics does come. They just don't come. And revenue, they don't come. And I mean, your KPIs are 100 times lower than you're expecting. So this is of course, it drags you down, but that's the beauty of motivation. And I want to arrive, at any cost, any price, I must be there. But what you do, guys, outside working? Founders, I will never expect it by founder tell me, work balance between balancing my life and private life, because probably founders work 12, 14 hours per day. But this is what must be at the beginning. But outside this hard work, how do you like to enjoy your life?
Yeah, I think everyone in the team in general likes to do sports, which I think it's good because even mentally it's good for you. So I did parkour in the past, for instance. I did several sports. I like to write. I like to read too. It's stuff that's it's really, I can zoom out, like, and see things like from above, from a distance, and it helps me like more philosophical things, and helps me reflect of the purpose of life, and you can zoom out on your pain, and you feel more comfortable, and everyone is gonna die, so let's put some and you thought, do you want to share what you like to
do? Sure. I've been cycling through different things in terms of my hobbies beyond work. I've had periods where I was doing multiple hobbies at once, but in the past weeks, months, I've been focusing on one at a time. Sports, I wouldn't say sports, but exercising, movement in general. Like I like gymnastics. I like some traditional practices from different places like yoga, Palavani, other things, dancing. Right now, I'm much more focused. Haven't doing much of that, and I'm more focused in music. So I listen to a lot of music. I'm always exploring different genres of music. I play guitar, and I always try to learn new stuff, both on my playing and also in terms of theory, more and more. Singing, So that's been my main hobby these weeks.
And normally we have a lot of creative ideas when we like zoom out and do stuff super different of what we are doing in the day to day, And you suddenly remember something. Oh, I solved the problem of the company, and I was just, running or cycling or whatever.
Oh
yeah, it happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, normally when you think too much about something, the solution does come, and after you move out, suddenly it arrives. But this is how it is, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what about failure? It's a massive topic when it comes to founders, especially the first-time founder. They are a bit scared. Maybe I'm going to fail, especially when founders they start their first startup in not early age, 19, 20, 21. Who cares if you fail? But when you start at 30, 35, you care a bit more. Now, you've been there. What can be your suggestion to founders approaching failure? I mean, failure is not failure. I don't even call failure. Approaching learning. Let's put it this way, because it's not failure in any way.
Yeah.
What's your suggestion?
Start over and over again, another startup, until you just need to get it right once. The upside is massive if you do it right. So it's like an exam, but you can do it over and over and over again until you get it right. So it's better than exam. Honestly, an exam in the university gives me more anxiety than analyzing building a company. Not building a company. Building a company, I think it's way more difficult. But like intellectually thinking about it, it's like that. And for me, honestly, I think being an entrepreneur opened more doors than close, because there are always people like reaching out to us, like, André, if that fails, you have a job here. Like, or do you know someone with the same profile as you? It's impressive, like in your age. I would like to have someone to work with me like that. So we have a lot of proposals already, and we are still building this. So I think in the end, yeah, people don't see it, especially in other entrepreneurs, they don't see it as a failure. They recognize that you learned a lot and you've done, yeah, some cool stuff. So you have a lot of knowledge, and because it's a hack, you can like bypass a lot of the process, because yeah, you are learning much faster and a faster pace, and you are in the end you are much more capable of doing stuff. So yeah, you have this so precious asset that is your knowledge. So yeah, when you realize that, I don't think you'll regret anything, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree. Unexpected alternative opportunities did come if we ever go crazy and decide to quit being an entrepreneur. And it's a volume game. Try as much as possible. And whenever you fail, try to flip it. And instead of being, oh, I failed, what a shame, see it like a victory in the sense that, yes, I'm a step closer of gaining,
of winning, of understanding the world, kind of too. Yeah.
I mean, building a startup, building a company is so complicated, and succeeding is so challenging that I always compare a startup above any master. Any. I done my master, but honestly, building a startup is 100 times more. When you study, it's a lot of theoretical knowledge, but when you apply, it's a totally different story. Totally different story. It's not another word. And many times you understand. Actually, I've been studying so long, and I need to restart again because it's totally completely different story. But you live in Portugal. I believe both of you, if I'm right. In Portugal, you have the biggest event, which is the Web Summit in Europe, where you have thousands and thousands of founders, not only founders, but anyway, the world of tech, gathering together in thousands and thousands there. What's your point of view on the tech ecosystem, which is very much developed in Europe extraordinarily well for the last 10 years? But there is still too much talk and less action, which is my point of view. We talk a lot, but still in Europe, it's a massive, it's massively underfunded, for example. And so what's your point of view? How do you see the tech? You've been in Web Summit, so I was there as well. How do you see the tech ecosystem overall in Europe? Okay. Let's talk about Europe.
Yeah, here in Europe, I think, yeah, it's probably a cultural problem in some cases, in a lot of cases. We don't like to. It's a trade-off, okay. It's like, yeah, and if you see like the opposite, you have China and US, for instance. Like in US, you have totally freedom of the individual, and you sacrifice sometimes the freedom of the group, sometimes. And in China, they see it in the opposite way. And I think here in Europe, we are trying to do something in the middle, because we are super socialist, and we don't like to give the responsibility to the people. We like to have like the state doing decisions for the people, you know. And you don't say, when I get old, I have my savings or I have my investments. No, the state provides for you. They have pensions for you. They have stuff for you, and you have less the culture of, let the private companies and the individuals solve the problems of the country. Okay. And I think in US they have more this mentality. So this opens a lot of more opportunity, and things move a lot of faster because everyone is competing. I think you could do this in a more social way. You can do that if you have competing parts, because you can have like public agencies competing with each other. But I think that's the main problem. Like the mindset is not there. and the baseline is culture. So yeah, I think we are more risk averse because of that. Because we are taught that the state provides for you. You don't need to bother about that. You know, the state job is more stable. You can go there, and if you want a stable thing, I think that's the main problem in my view.
Yeah, it is. We are a bit. I think the good way is a trade-off, but trade-off are very difficult to be found. Very complicated.
Yeah, true.
What do you need? What do you think about this?
I totally agree. I think like in every system you have different levels, and you can analyze and try to affect it at different levels. In this case, when you're talking about something as an ecosystem of entrepreneurship, culture, like the set of values and beliefs that underlies a certain culture, is probably the highest leverage point where you can have the most impact if you make some change. And so yeah, I'd say that definitely what Andre was saying is the biggest factor. It then materializes obviously in a bunch of different structural aspects, such as the way the regulation is set. Like if you're trying to expand throughout Europe, you have to deal with a bunch of different tax regulatory schemes. So that's a difficulty. If you want to hire outside in other countries in Europe, it's hard as well. If you're starting out a company in Portugal, you have to be thinking about lots of things that you shouldn't be thinking about. You should be thinking about validating your product as soon as possible, and try to scale it. They have taxes to pay on a bunch of different things. You have to be compliant with certain sets of regulations. And yeah, maybe if you didn't have to think about that, it would be easier. So yeah, that's something to think about. And regarding the fact that there are trade-offs, yeah, for instance, in terms of funding, when on the one hand you have a venture capital scene where people are more risk averse and demand more of you at the same stage, comparing with VCs from the States. Like pre-seed in the States, you have a PowerPoint, maybe a bit more. In Europe, you need to have a client or two, yeah. But then on the other hand, you have public funding also,
Yeah.
which can be good if you don't lose sight of of what you're trying to do, actually, of what you are trying to optimize for, instead of just optimizing for getting more funding. But yeah, it's very intricate.
You touch a very sensible point. In Europe, we have a lot of grants, and somehow states help. On the other hand, when you get used to grants because you're not giving any equity, the mindset change a lot. And I'm following Andrea say you feel subsidized, and you feel you can go forever in this way. It changed completely. You are not aggressive anymore. You are you really set back because the state helps you. I agree with you, guys. Absolutely. For me, venture capital must be private, not public. Yes, the public sector has to help, but supporting the private. Who has to deploy the money is the private, not the public, right? That's the only way. But do you think we can catch up? What's your point?
Yeah, I think we can. But I think one important thing that we subestimate is like how important it is to connect people and to have more density of talent in one place. Like, because imagine in Silicon Valley, you have like generations and generations of startup being built. And you go to a cafe or something and you meet some people that is a founder or a previous founder or whatever. Yeah. And this is super important. And you are surrounded by people with the same mindset. Here, I think our entrepreneurs have the right mindset most of the times. But the thing is, they are not connecting with each other. And you go to a cafe and you see a person with a super old-fashioned way to think, and you are influenced indirectly by that. And that's not good for you. You should live in the bubble of entrepreneurship. I think it's more productive that way, you see.
That's true.
And then you have this, as you said, the public grants. It changes your mindset. And then in one way, you want to be lean, but you receive the money and you need to catch up with the protocol that you sign, so you cannot pivot if you want. You understood, okay, this market doesn't exist. It's not good at all. But now I can change it because I need the money. I want to use this money. So it's not the leanest way to do stuff. And the regulators should ask more our opinion, They should talk to the people.
That's true.
I saw sometimes here in Portugal, I see stuff like we have unicorns, like people that are super talented. And for instance, like the president of the States, like ask them about advices. The president of the United States, because they have operations there. And our prime minister doesn't know who he is. Like, what? What? Like, yeah, we don't extract the right value. We have the talent and the people, but yeah, you have this misalignment and it's huge. Yeah.
That's true. I cannot agree more. I mean, I'm positive. I'm positive. We've been moving a lot. I hope we can move more. And one day close. This gap is still very big. But what about? I mean, being an entrepreneur, you've been so far for a long time already. That's your second startup. What's the biggest lesson you got being an entrepreneur? I mean, what really you received in the nation for all this time working, a lesson that made you a better person or a better entrepreneur?
A difficult question, but we had a reflection about this some weeks ago, actually.
I mean, I give you mine. I was myself. I was unbelievable. I mean, I was so emotional. I was making decision based on emotion, right? With someone say, okay, you can make a decision based on gut. Yes, maybe you're right, but maybe there's no rationality. But as I start moving, I said, all right, I actually have time for deciding. I don't need to immediately decide. I can take my time, of course, not too much. I need to be much more rational and using data more than just gut and emotion. And I moved there, and life is very different. Even in managing stress, it's totally different. For me, it's been the biggest lesson for what I was. So for me, it was, wow, I'm living another life now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I can point out to a biggest lesson. I think it's many tiny lessons.
Are you a better person now? Are you a better person?
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
For sure. Yeah. And
For
even
sure,
the point that you said, I agree. I see that in myself too. Like, I avoid to react immediately. Like, let's take some time. Let's think things through, and then I will act before the emotion is fully dissolved. Yeah, I think that's a good lesson for sure.
I like to sleep over now. Before, no way. Now, do you know what? Stop. I will come back tomorrow because tomorrow it's a different mindset, a different mind, a different way to think. Because maybe you rest, because you see things in different perspective, less involved. You give more time to cool down and cooling the emotion and moving forward. But yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful journey being an entrepreneur. Let me close. Already, we've been talking for a while now. Let me close with the Life of Founder is done for founders, and I like to ask to the closing, what can be a recommendation to the founders that are going to watch this podcast? What do you like to recommend them?
Okay, I think it's important to surround yourself with people that have done the same in the past, even with people that are just a few steps ahead of you, because this already successful founder that did that 15 years ago, maybe he doesn't remember how it is. He remembers, but it's like, yeah, a memory experience. But it's useful because and times change. So yeah, this guy is just a few steps ahead of you, and he can point out, take care with that. I think that's an important thing. Another important thing that I would point out is like, okay, maybe you think that you are being lean, that you are following the right principles, but probably you're not. You're thinking that you are being fast, probably you're not. You could be faster. Okay, see examples that like top tier entrepreneurs how they do things. If you compare yourself constantly and you push through, probably you can get more out of it. So set super ambitious goals, because sometimes it's difficult. If you are not in Europe, I think that's the main problem. You are not surrounded by these crazy successful examples, like they are not your neighbors. You need to be ambitious. It's important, and to believe yourself that you can achieve that. Otherwise, it's not worth. So you can do it. Just do it, and the difficulty is kind of the same. If you are doing like a small restaurant, it's difficult. It's going to be difficult. You are going to suffer anyway. So do something that the upside is huge. That would be my advice.
Thank you, André.
Totally agree on that one. I would add maybe, and it's related to the matter of finding mentors, people that have gone through similar paths and are a bit further than you are. So I'd recommend really take care of where you are. So who you're surrounded with, how is your space set up? Do you have everything laying around? Do you organize? Do you have a space to work and a space to rest? Do you have it well segregated? Do you have few distractions around you when you're working? Your behavior is strongly influenced by your surroundings. So that's a leverage point you can take care of. And I've observed that in myself, that the less I have to deal with surrounding distractions, tensions, etc., the easier it gets to focus, the closer I become to whom I aim to become.
And don't romanticize too much like the journey. Like just get things done. Go to a room without windows, don't get distracted, and just do the important stuff, Just do it. It's like Nike slogan, just do it.
Just do it. That's all. It's all about execution. Execute. Don't bother yourself too much. André, thank you so much for coming to the LifeOfAFounder. It has been an absolute pleasure for me. And very much good luck. But you are bright. I think you were right.
Thank you, Mas. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mas.
Bye.